We have a trial set to begin soon of a man who attacked a trans woman at Seattle University. This is from King 5 News. Stick around, I'm going to talk about all of this. The trial of Andre Karlow, accused of a hate crime in connection to the assault of a trans woman in Seattle University District, begins Wednesday. And I want to say that people like this man who attacked this trans woman, are feeling emboldened by the lies, false information, and the anti-trans legislation put out by Republicans. But remember, Republicans only give the illusion of reality. So the reality is that these values cannot be applied to real life because they are not only morally wrong, but they violate many existing laws. Republicans don't care if little nobodies attack a trans person and end up in prison for the rest of their life. They want to encourage this behavior because it helps their political agenda. Disgusting. Back to the article. The trial of a Seattle man accused of carrying out a violent hate crime attack against a trans woman in the U District is expected to start on Wednesday in King County Superior Court. Prosecutors have charged Andre Philip Karlow, age 39, with second-degree assault and a hate crime in connection to attack in March 2025 along University Way Northeast. According to court documents and Seattle police, the victim was attacked just after 6 p.m. by a group of people using anti-trans slurs during the assault. Investigators say the victim suffered multiple injuries, including broken teeth, and was able to escape and seek help inside a nearby business. Karlow previously pleaded not guilty, fucking kidding me, to both charges and was held on a $200,000 bail. Trial proceedings scheduled to begin Wednesday morning. In addition to this case, Karlow is facing another hate crime case in King County. In the earlier case, prosecutors said Karlow attacked a transgender Sound Transit fare enforcement officer at a light rail station in South Seattle in September 2024. According to court records, Karlow is accused of using a slur before punching the victim in the face. And this is so common with hate crimes. Right before these wackos attack people, they use anti-trans, anti-gay slurs. That's obviously a very good indication of a hate crime, and that's how they prosecute it. He also pleaded not guilty in that case. Bullshit. That victim, his first victim, Lexi Young, had previously told King 5 News that the attack targeted how she presents and how she identifies. So very clearly a hate crime. So this man clearly has an obsession with trans women. This is extremely common with Republican men. These men target trans women's civil rights in their professions. I'm talking about Republicans in government. And then at night, they are hiring transgender sex workers and stalking trans women in their free time. And I want to talk about why these uneducated men get so violent with trans women, because this is a gigantic problem in the United States among these uneducated Republican men. So Republicans' values are centered around men. This is called androcentrism, when you make masculinity the default human standard. Females only exist in their world to support the male. And a woman is expected to put her man's needs before her own. A lot of these beliefs come from extreme forms of religion, which is very, very common with Republicans, especially in the Deep South, but also in rural counties in a lot of states. So these people live in very isolated places with no diversity, and they have never met a trans person in their life. These uneducated men who expect to be the center of the universe are seeing trans women as a threat to traditional masculinity. They don't understand why someone born male would transition to female, because this is the ultimate downgrade. Men are not supposed to want to be feminine or be supportive of men. They're not supposed to be attracted to men. Their failure there is their ignorance on gender. Gender is not attached to your sex parts. Gender is neurological, it's not biological. There is nothing wrong with identifying as the opposite gender you were born as, unless you're in a religious or political cult that tells you otherwise. So when men who have been that brainwashed with disinformation, their first reaction is to react with extreme fear, because that's what they've been taught. They've been taught that gay men and trans women are crawling out of hell. This is literally what Turning Point USA said, and taking men's power away, which of course is delusional and unhealthy thinking. But in this fear, these men react with violence. So this is all about insecurity in men. They are insecure in their own masculinity, their own gender, their own sexual orientation, which are three different separate things. And I'm not saying all this to justify this man's actions. These actions are awful, they're trauma-inducing, and will affect these women forever, and this man should be punished accordingly. But we have to recognize what the real problem is before we can fix it. The problem is not trans women. The problem here is insecure, uneducated, and uninformed cisgender men who react with violence. They are also the main perpetrators of our mass shootings, cisgender men. So we have to address the toxic masculinity coming from the right, the religious and political cults of disinformation on the right, and we must address the lies and encouragement coming from Republicans in government. They are doing the opposite of what we hired them to do, protect the American people. Instead, Republicans are harming the American people, American transgender people, starting with little children. It's sick, it's disgusting, it's demented, and it's very reflective of our Republican leadership right now. Republicans' elected leaders are corrupt sex offenders who weasel their way out of being held responsible in any sort of situation. And we cannot allow that with the American public. So thank you for listening. Please like this, share it, spread this information, leave your comments. I'll be back very soon. Ta-ta, guys.